Hello and welcome. This is Vladcast, and it's a pleasant evening here in Saline, and I'm talking to Father Gregory. Father Gregory Joyce, rector of St. Vladimir Parish. We're here to talk about the parish in the month of June. What's going to happen? What can we look forward to? And it's Father Gregory to tell us all about it. Father Gregory, thank you for inviting me to your house to do the Vladcast program for the month of June.
John, thank you for being here. We can still say at the beginning of June that we'll be greeting each other with the Paschal greeting, so Christ is risen.
Okay. Christos, indeed he is risen.
Excellent.
I was trying to remember my Romanian.
That's all right. Romanian is hard. Yeah. You'll remember during the program, I'm sure we can enlighten people. Great month. June's a great month. Lots going on. 2 great feasts and lots of other stuff happening.
Pentecost.
Yes, sir.
Ascension.
Yep.
Yes.
Pentecost and Ascension. So 2 of the feasts that are connected to Pascha, so they don't have a fixed date. 40 and 50 days after Pascha for those feasts.
Ascension's always on a Thursday?
Always on a Thursday. Yeah, that's always the favorite liturgics question. When does Pentecost fall on a Wednesday?
That's a gotcha question.
It is. When does Ascension fall on a Wednesday? And that's never. But even before we get to that, we got a lot of stuff before we even get to Ascension, which is on the 9th. So it's packed. It's a packed month.
Some saints?
We got saints. We got even more than saints. First thing, I'll be in Russia when we begin this month. So Father Joseph Town will be here serving, which is great. Everybody likes Father Joseph, and so Father Joseph will be here.
Albion's just down the road.
Albion?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not in Russia.
No. I'm going to be visiting Russia during the beginning of...
Oh, you'll be in Russia.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So, but Father Joseph will be here, which is super. Everybody will be happy to see Father Joseph, I'm sure. And
wait, the Father Joseph?
The one and only Father Joseph Town.
My goodness.
Yes, exactly. Back for a return performance at St. Vladimir. So I think that's going to be great. And so we start really on the 3rd already of June. It's St. Constantine and Helen. And
who found the cross?
St. Helen found the cross. And we have got a plethora of Helens. And now, after much cajoling from myself, we have a second Constantine. So,
a second Constantine.
In some ways, St. Vladimir is the second Constantine. But I mean, we have a second person who is named Constantine.
Yeah, I know.
So we have Constantine.
A youngster?
Yeah, we got a youngster. He's a little toddler, and that's great. Excellent. So for the parents, we could still do more Constantines, but there are some other names that we could work on also, so please see me if you have questions. But, so we have that on the 3rd, and then we turn right around on the 4th. 3rd is a Friday. On the 4th for Saturday, that's English Divine Liturgy. So we'll have 2 in a row there, and then Sunday right after that. So that's a good start to June. We've got 3 Divine Liturgies right in a row.
It'll keep you busy.
4th, and 5th. It will, absolutely. Father Joseph hopefully will stay through the 5th, and the 5th that's one of the longest Gospels of the year. We mentioned in last month's Vladcast, so come for that because it's a really good one and I think a very important one. So that all leads us up to having a little break, and then
the 9th.
But the 8th is the last day of Pascha, and so according to the Typicon, you have 2 choices. You can just serve like a regular world service, or you can do Bright Week again. And
I know what we're going to do. You
bet you know. So we're going to be doing Bright Week again. So on the 6th in the evening, we'll have Paschal Vespers and Matins, and on the 7th in the evening, we'll have Paschal Vespers and Matins. 8th in the morning, Paschal Divine Liturgy. So we'll really send off Pascha with a very appropriate liturgical expression. And then the 8th in the evening, of course, it's Vigil for Ascension, and the 9th is Ascension.
Now, how long has this choice existed? Is it
That's a good question. I really don't know the answer to that. To me, it really makes a lot of sense to do the Bright Week service again, to do Pascha one more time. Because I just don't see how you can serve Pascha enough.
Right.
You know, according to the Typicon, we should serve liturgy every single day. There's not even weddings allowed on Bright Week.
Except for Friday. Good Friday. Can't do a liturgy.
Right. No. But I mean the Bright Week, the week after Pascha. We could do Pascha. There's an expectation you serve liturgy every single day, so much so that there's even not weddings allowed during Bright Week, which is a very festive thing and a very festive time. So to have that sort of spill over into the Epidosis, into the Etania, makes perfect sense to me. So I don't know how long it's been, but I like that choice, and we choose that choice.
Do it. Good. Yes, with the bishop's blessing.
Yes, absolutely. So it's great. And so for those who couldn't get enough Bright Week, and that should be every single one of you, here's another chance to have the Paschal services served one last time.
Wearing white?
Absolutely. White, and with the 3 candle holder and all of it. So
will the doors to the icon screen be open?
You know, I have to look and see what it says to do. I think that you don't do that, but
well, it's not like Bright Week.
Not fully, but let me double check that though. Don't make any large wagers on that. I'll double check that and I'll let you know.
Okay. There's a book where you can find it.
Yep, there is.
All right.
Several, in fact. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
then what?
Well, Ascension, it's already a biggie. That's a very big feast. And I know that we're going to have parishioners in Jerusalem then, which is great. They're going to be leaving already on the 25th of last month.
What would you, an Orthodox person, do in the Holy Land if it were Ascension and you were there? Is there like a place that you would go or try to
You would
visit?
absolutely try to be on the Mount of Olives where the Lord...
where it happened.
Where it happened. And that there is a Russian Orthodox convent there, rather substantial one. And our... Bishop Peter, will be serving Divine Liturgy then. So if you're in Jerusalem...
They know him there.
They do. He was the head of the mission for 3 years, and he's leading a pilgrimage of... actually, the majority of the pilgrims going on the pilgrimage, I've seen the list, are from our Michigan deanery. So that's great. I think that's the way it always should be. And so we have a lot of people from Michigan going, and a lot of people from our parish going, and that's just marvelous. So some of the folks who are watching this, they'll be watching it from Jerusalem, actually, when it's on the 1st of June. So... On the 9th there, Bishop Peter will be serving Divine Liturgy at the Mount of Olives. The Mount of Olives.
What's the church there called? Who's it named for?
The Ascension.
Oh, naturally.
As you might guess. So, so I want to say to all the pilgrims, we hope that you're having a wonderful time. We know that you're all watching this in Jerusalem, and we hope that you're praying for us there.
Aye.
For those who didn't get an opportunity to go, let me just encourage you to at least plan once in your lifetime to go. And what's interesting is most people who go once go again because
they like it so much.
Yes, exactly. And so you get to walk in the places where the Lord walked, visit the places where the Lord was. The gospel will come alive. So in any case, we strongly encourage folks to go on pilgrimage. I think we're building a nice culture of pilgrimage in our parish, and we want to see that continue. So hopefully...
Now, is it worth it to go up to try to get up to Galilee, or is it just around Jerusalem?
Oh no, Bishop Peter always takes people to Galilee. Always takes people to Galilee.
Is it a lot different than...
It is. I mean, the weather is different, the climate, everything is different, and that's as far north as he goes. But he brings people up there.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it really is worth it, and it's really worth it to go with Bishop Peter. I'm certain that the other bishops, when they bring people on pilgrimages, do a marvelous job. But the difference is everybody knows Bishop Peter in the Holy Land. Everybody. This is I think his 35th time taking pilgrims to the Holy Land, and he was the head of the Russian mission for 3 years there. So they all know him very well, and every door is open to him. So please consider, brothers and sisters, to go on a pilgrimage and to go with Bishop Peter.
Okay. Now, if one were to consider the Ascension in terms of what it means for personal salvation, what would they think about, or what could they consider?
I think it's really about kind of going full circle, right? Adam and Eve were cast out from paradise, and the doors were blocked with an angel with a flaming sword, which is a great sort of vision. I like that one. And now here, the Lord, who's completely God and completely man, in his humanity, as well as his Godhead, again brings man to paradise. The opportunity for the heavenly kingdom is again open to man. It's kind of the ultimate act of the resurrection, right? The Lord resurrects. He lives with the people for 40 days. He teaches them a little bit more, then he ascends to heaven, but not just as God, but also as completely man. So it's this kind of full circle thing, which I think is really beautiful and powerful. that mankind again has the opportunity to attain the heavenly kingdom. So
I think the angel was taken off duty, or
something like that.
We don't hear about what happened
after several thousand years, perhaps retirement. I'm not sure, but in any case, the opportunity for paradise is again open for mankind, and this is why it's such a big feast for us. Is that it's sort of the last possible breath, I guess, of the Old Testament passing away, and where now mankind again has the opportunity for paradise. So I think very beautiful, and the hymnography of the feast is really beautiful. It's a really nice feast to attend, and God willing, we'll someday have a school named after this feast also for the parish, which the bishop blessed. So for me, it's a really important feast and a really beautiful one.
Excellent. Now you said that Christ came back and did a little more teaching during the 40 days. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's unique about that teaching that he did after his resurrection? Is there any kind of way to characterize it as different, or?
Well, it's really confirming the resurrection, and that whole time is spent confirming the resurrection with the apostles and the disciples, and just making it very clear to them: this is not a dream, this is not a magic trick, this is really Jesus Christ resurrected from the dead. It's also a sort of a foreshadowing of this resurrected flesh that all will partake of at the general resurrection.
That's a hard concept.
It is a very hard concept.
Not just counterintuitive, but it almost sort of goes against some of the stuff in other parts of the theology.
It is a hard concept, and I think that maybe that's just why we kind of get 40 days of it every year to sort of plant that seed and let it grow as it appropriately needs to grow. But yes, this is really what happens during the 40 days. Is he confirms with his disciples, his apostles, the resurrection. Of course, Peter is sort of re-established as an apostle. That's also an important thing.
Well, he went rogue for a while?
Well, he kind of did when, after he told the Lord that, I'm ready to die for you, and then after the rooster crowed and everybody remembers that from 2 Vladcasts ago when we talked about Holy Week. But in any case, Peter is reinstituted with the apostles. And that's important because, of course, really what we're reading from now in the church that's providing us this sort of reliving of that time is not the gospel, but the Acts of the apostles. Mm-hmm. Right? And so by this time, we're seeing Peter reinstituted as an apostle. He's actively working with the others. They're doing a lot of miracles and really bringing people to the faith, preparing them for the feast that comes 10 days after this. So the feast on the 50th day, which is, of course, Pentecost. Mm-hmm. And here we see the beginning of the church as we know it today.
The birthday of the church.
It really is the birthday of the church. There's really no other way to say that. The apostles and the disciples are enlightened by the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit begins to guide the church in a new and more active way. And this is the way that the church is today. So from the apostles begin to no longer be afraid, hiding in upper rooms, avoiding crowds. Now they're going out and preaching to the crowds. They're speaking in the languages of the people that had gathered in Jerusalem there for the Old Testament feast of Pentecost. And the faith begins to spread like wildfire. So the Lord had prepared people in many ways for this time, even if they weren't Jews. The pagans were even being prepared also. But here we see it's kind of like putting a match to gasoline and things just take off. And so the church begins to spread very quickly. And
all over the ancient world.
All over the ancient world. And then you get people like Saul who decides that, he's no
done making tents. And
no more tents. That's right. No more persecution of Christians. No more, keeping track of people's cloaks while they stone apostles. And he is going to join in with the apostles. And so this is a really exciting time in the ancient church, and it's an exciting time for us too because we're there with them. This is a time when there's a lot of dynamism. Everybody's just excited, ready to go. Things are going great. Everything is is working really well, and it's a very exciting time for us too as we keep track of these daily readings. We're reading from the Acts of the Apostles every single day, and we're going step by step with the apostles as these things happen. So it's a great time. It's a really exciting time in the church.
Great.
Yep. The day after Pentecost, Holy Spirit Day. So as is
Second day of
Pentecost, absolutely, and
there's a third day.
There's a third day too. Yep.
But let's not jump ahead.
Exactly. It's very common. Well, the big feasts always have at least 3 days, right? So Nativity, Theophany, they all do Pentecost, and so the day after a big feast usually is a celebration of a part of that feast that really maybe there wasn't room for there before.
The rest of the people who were there.
Yeah, a lot of times, like, the day after Theophany, it's the Synaxis of John the Baptist, right? So day after Nativity, Synaxis of the Theotokos. And so the day after Pentecost is the Holy Spirit Day. And this is a day where people continue the celebration. I mean, remember, everything is decorated in the church with green to show life that the Holy Spirit gives to the church, to the world, and this continues on this day. So this is always a very nice day. And I forgot that the day before Pentecost is also an important day. I should probably mention that.
Pre-Pentecost.
It is. This is always an Ancestor Saturday. This is always a day when we remember the dead. And if you listen carefully, and I urge you to do this, to the kneeling prayers on Pentecost itself, those prayers, especially the third prayer, it's really a prayer for the departed, in large part. But the day before we have the Saturday for the departed, and it's our tradition in our parish for that to be a children's liturgy. So the children will sing, they will serve, they will work at the kiosk, they'll prepare the food, they'll do everything.
They can't do everything.
Almost
everything. They got to be ordained.
Right. A few things they can't do, but everything that they can do, they do. And we try to do this 2, 3, sometimes 4 times a year in the parish. And this one is a pretty set tradition now to do it the day before Pentecost. So we hope people will not miss that, and that they'll participate in the Feast of Pentecost both on that Saturday and the Sunday and Monday if they can. A lot of people are already out of school then, so there's some flexibility there as well.
So you forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot.
But now
Sorry.
don't forget about the third day of the Trinity.
Exactly. There's always a third day and when it's a big feast like this. Now this year in our parish we're not going to have liturgy that day. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We can't this year. I have to travel that day. But
we could get Father Joseph.
Well, if he's still here, but I think he'll be gone by then, unfortunately. God willing, one of the gentlemen in the parish who's watching this Vladcast will say, you know what, we could use a second priest. And we'll begin to pursue.
You have one gentleman in particular?
Oh no, I think we need more than a second priest
to go to seminary.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I think that's important. So we definitely need to do that. And for instance, if we had a second priest in the parish, we would serve the third day.
So what happens on the third day? Why?
It's basically we celebrate Pentecost again. All of the church remains decorated through that third day. The hymns of Pentecost are sung again on that third day. It's very similar to the third day of Nativity. We're celebrating the feast again, and then we move through that whole feast, that whole week with no fasting. That's one of the fast-free weeks of the year, which folks are usually pretty attentive to. When you look at the calendar and you see no fast days, that usually will catch your attention. But there's a reason for that, and that is because the Sunday after Pentecost is All Saints' Day, and the day after that begins the Apostles' Fast. So All Saints' Day, it's a feast of the martyrs, and I think a really important one, and one that we should be attentive to. In the Russian Orthodox Church abroad, that's also the day of youth. So in our parish, we're preparing a youth program, and we hope that more information will be coming out, but we hope that folks will take the time to be there. Most people don't disappear immediately after school gets out, and if you can kind of hold off and be there through that Sunday, I think you won't be sorry for that. So I think it's going to be an interesting program, and we're looking forward to that.
Youth program.
Yep.
And a school.
Yeah, this particular day, just this particular day of All Saints is every year dedicated to youth.
We're coming up with a youth program.
Well, there's a special program on that day.
Oh, just that day?
That day.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we have our youth program. By then, We usually take June, July, and August off for the youth group meetings. It's just really hard for folks. Although we may do Focus Detroit in June. I don't know that yet, so I can't say officially, but we're trying to work out something for our teenagers and young adults to work at Focus Detroit in June.
Very good.
Yep. And so the last few days of June are the beginning of the Apostles' Fast, which goes until July 12th.
And this is not one of the stricter fasts.
Correct. We have 2 strict and 2 less strict. Nativity and Apostles are less strict. Great Lent and Domitian are more strict. So a lot of fish is allowed during that time, which is nice. And it's only in June on the old calendar, but we can say that the 2nd of July is the Brotherhood Feast Day of St. John of Shanghai and San Francisco. So we just want people to know that so that they kind of mark that on their calendar. It's true that in San Francisco they always serve on the Saturday. It just doesn't work for us. It's easier to just do it on July 2nd, the day that he actually reposed, and we get more people that way. So a lot of people in the parish are gone that Saturday to bring kids to camp. So it just works out that way. So in any case, that's something to look forward to in July.
All right. That's kind of a preview for
the
next Vladcast.
A little tease.
Which you can catch right here on your St. Vladimir YouTube channel. That's right. Wait for just 1 month and we'll be back. Father, thank you for inviting me to your house to talk about the parish and parish life.
Thank you, John, for being here. Really appreciate it.
Christos anvia.
Alethos anasti.
Yeah. See ya.